Hello, this is Dr. Emmanuel Taklamariam introducing the history and the timeline that led to the Code of Ethics, specifically the creation of the current Belmont report that we use as the guideline for conducting research. I have a one-page timeline that I would like to share with you and explain the historical development and growth of ethics in research. Let me share my screen. This is what I have in a way of summarizing the historical development in as far as the development of research ethics is concerned. The ethical guidelines for social science research have their foundation from the field of medicine. Prior to 1906, as you can see it from the screen, there were no regulations regarding the ethical use of human participants in research. No consumer regulations, no institutional review board or IRB. In the name of medical treatment or research, a lot of abuses happened. In 1906, the initial attempt was related to the Pure Food and Drug Act, the first Congress action to protect consumers was passed. This had very little to do with research ethics, however. Let's go to 1948. In Nazi Germany, of course during Adolf Hitler, 23 leading German physicians and administrators conducted medical experiments on thousands of human beings in the concentration camp prison without their consent. As a result, most of the participants in these experiments died or were permanently crippled. When Hitler was overthrown, the physicians were brought to court. You can watch YouTube videos to find what judgment was passed on them. Pay attention that the leading judges were from the United States, although other serious crimes were happening in their own country, as we are going to see it in the timeline. The atrocities committed by the 23 German physicians led to the Nuremberg Code of 1948 that consumers must give their consent before participating in any medical experimentation. 1962. Drug manufacturing companies were not required the approval of FDA, and some of their drugs, such as thalidomide, prescribed to control sleep and nausea throughout pregnancy, but caused severe deformities in the unborn children. Many participants did not know that they were taking a drug that was not approved for use by FDA, nor did they give their informed consent. Some 12,000 babies were born with severe deformities due to thalidomide, mainly in Europe. In 1974, the National Research Act was passed as a result of the publicity of the Tuskegee syphilis study, which was charged to identify the basic ethical principles that should guide biomedical research. Do you know the unethical atrocity and crime that took place for 40 years on African American men, a crime that was repeatedly committed by US government. Please search for some videos or other resources that give you further information on this. The act was also formalized the IRB regulation process through local institutional review board. In 1978, we have the follow-up of the National Research Act of 1974, and we have the Belmont Report, which guides our current ethical principles, namely autonomy, respect for persons, beneficence, and justice. Every researcher must abide by these principles. In general, the summary of the main points of the Code of Research Ethics are as displayed on the screen: seeking permission, respect for persons, beneficence, justice, informed consent, cultural sensitivity, self-determination, minimization of harm, autonomy, confidentiality, and voluntary participation. And that is what IRB approval checks. When we submit our applications before we go to the field to collect the primary data, the IRB checks whether our proposals adhere to the ethical principles or if it violates. Well, look for further research textbooks as well as APA manual number 7 or the 7th edition, and other research resources such as videos which provide further information on the Code of Ethics. Thank you for watching and have a great week.